A man who today is synonymous with innovation and cutting-edge technology, but who for decades was unfairly forgotten by textbooks. We are talking about Nikola Tesla. His mind did not work like everyone else's. He didn't need complicated blueprints or wooden models for his initial experiments. He could visualize entire machines, with every screw and every gear moving in perfect synchrony, all within his own thought. Nikola Tesla didn't just invent devices, he invented the 20th century. From the electricity that reaches our homes to the wireless technology that allows us to communicate today, his footprint is everywhere. But his path was not easy. It was a life marked by genius, ambition, betrayal, and ultimately deep loneliness. Our story begins on a night of an electrical storm between the 9th and 10th of July, 1856. In the small village of Smiljan, located in present-day Croatia, a child was born while lightning illuminated the sky. The midwife, frightened by the thunder, said the baby was a child of darkness. But his mother, Juka Mandik, replied firmly, "No, he will be a child of light," and she was not wrong. Nikola Tesla's father, Milutin Tesla, was an Orthodox priest who expected his son to follow in his footsteps in the church. However, Nikola Tesla inherited the inventive spark from his mother, who, despite not knowing how to read, created small household tools to make domestic chores easier. She was his first inspiration. The childhood of Tesla was not without tragedies. When he was barely 5 years old, he witnessed the death of his older brother, Dane, in a horse accident. This event left a deep psychological mark on him and was the origin of his first visual hallucinations. Despite the pain, Nikola Tesla proved to be a prodigy student. He had a photographic memory that allowed him to memorize entire books and solve complex calculus problems mentally. On his sickbed, he made a promise to his father. If he survived, he wanted to study engineering instead of joining the priesthood. His father, desperate to save him, agreed. Tesla recovered and in 1875 began his studies at the Polytechnic University of Graz in Austria. There he became obsessed with work, studying up to 20 hours a day. It was in Graz where he first saw a direct current dynamo and realized its inefficiencies. The sparks jumping from the commutator seemed like a design flaw to him. He proposed that a brushless system could be created using alternating current. His professors mocked him, saying that it was physically impossible, but Tesla had already seen it in his mind. After some turbulent years that included the loss of his scholarship and a brief gambling addiction, Tesla ended up working in Budapest in 1881. One day, while walking through a park with a friend and reciting verses from Goethe's Faust, he had a revelation. In the sand on the ground, he drew the diagram of the rotating magnetic field. That drawing was the key to the induction motor, an invention that would change the world forever. In 1884, Tesla decided that Europe was becoming too small for him and set sail for the United States. He arrived in New York with only 4 cents in his pocket, some poems, and a letter of recommendation addressed to the most famous man of the time, Thomas Alva Edison. The letter said, "I know 2 great men, and you are one of them. The other is this young man." Edison hired him immediately to work at his company, Edison Machine Works. However, the relationship between the two was tense from the beginning. Edison was a trial-and-error experimenter, while Tesla was a precision theorist. The conflict erupted when Edison promised Tesla $50,000, an incredible fortune for the time if he managed to redesign his inefficient direct current motors. Tesla worked tirelessly and achieved the goal. When he went to collect his reward, Edison laughed and told him, "Tesla, you don't understand American humor." Instead of the money, he only offered him a small pay raise. Tesla, indignant and faithful to his principles, resigned that same day. What followed was one of the most intense episodes in the history of technology, the War of Currents. Tesla partnered with businessman George Westinghouse, who bought his alternating current patents for a considerable sum. Westinghouse understood that alternating current was superior because it could be transported over long distances with very little energy loss, something Edison's direct current could not do. Edison, seeing his empire threatened, began a brutal smear campaign. He electrocuted animals in public using alternating current to scare people, trying to prove that Tesla's system was dangerous. He even participated in the creation of the first electric chair to associate alternating current with death. But technical truth eventually won. In 1893, Tesla and Westinghouse won the contract to light the Chicago World's Fair. It was an unprecedented spectacle. For the first time, millions of people saw an entire city lit by alternating current electricity. The final triumph came shortly after, when the hydroelectric plant at Niagara Falls, designed by Tesla, was inaugurated. It was the definitive proof that his system could power entire nations. With the financial success of alternating current, Tesla opened his own laboratories in New York. It was a time of unrestrained creativity. He invented the Tesla coil, which produced high voltages of electricity and created artificial lightning in his laboratory. He also experimented with X-rays, even before Röntgen, and developed the first remote control systems. In 1898, he presented a remote control boat at Madison Square Garden. People were so amazed that they thought there was a trained monkey inside, or that Tesla was using telepathy. His most ambitious project began in 1901, the Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island. His vision was to create a worldwide wireless system that would not only transmit messages and images, but also free electrical energy through the atmosphere and the earth. He wanted anyone, anywhere on the planet, to be able to stick an antenna in the ground and get electricity. The financier J.P. Morgan initially supported the project, but when he realized that free wireless energy could not be measured with a meter and therefore could not be charged for, he withdrew his funding. Without money and with Marconi's competition advancing fast, the Wardenclyffe project collapsed. The tower was demolished in 1917 to pay debts. This failure marked the beginning of Tesla's decline. As he aged, Tesla became increasingly eccentric. He suffered from severe obsessive-compulsive disorder. In his interviews, he spoke of fantastic inventions like a death ray that could end all wars or a machine to communicate with other planets. The press treated him like a mad scientist, forgetting that he was responsible for the electrical grid that lit their offices. Nikola Tesla died alone in room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel on January 7, 1943, at the age of 86. He was found by a maid 2 days later. Immediately after his death, U.S. government agents confiscated all his notes and documents, fearing that his inventions on energy weapons could fall into enemy hands during World War II. Although he died in poverty and obscurity, time has proven him right. In 1960, the unit of measurement for magnetic induction was named the Tesla in his honor. Today, his legacy lives on in every electric motor, in every radio, in every remote control system, and in the global energy infrastructure. Tesla was a man who did not work for money, but for the progress of humanity. He once said, "The present is theirs, but the future, for which I have really worked, is mine." And he was right. The modern world is, in essence, a world designed by the brilliant and solitary mind of Nikola Tesla. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Nikola Tesla. His story reminds us that genius does not always come with fortune, but that truly revolutionary ideas have the power to live forever. Tesla did not just see the future, he built it with his own hands and his inexhaustible imagination. Until next time.